Hey, Michelle, I already see you. I already see you. Hi there, Miss Danita. How are you? Hello, Milagro. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Hello, Maggie. Hi, Isabel. How are you? Always nice to see you, Michelle. Miss Yvonne Farias, ¿cómo estás? Hi, Ida. Hi, Diane Clark. Hello. This is Vanessa Tijerina coming at you live here in the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas. Right? This is a survival video. Okay, this is my survival page. Every time I say it, I try to say it a little, more concise. I live in probably the most corrupt area of Texas. Although some people in West Texas would disagree with me. But I always have said that the farther away you are from the capital, the more that people think that they can get away with things when they are people that are in power. Right? I've had, it's the gray bottle, Yvonne. It's the only one that's the gray bottle. That's it. If you didn't get a gray bottle, it's the wrong one. It's the gray bottle. It all started off with, it all happened to me. And I'll tell you what happened to me. It all happened to me because I just did it for my kids. That's it. That's all it was. It's that simple. It was that simple. That's it. I wasn't bothering anybody unless you count. She's talking shit about my friend that's a cop. She's talking shit about my friend that's a principal. She's talking shit about my friend that is a judge. She's talking shit about my friend or my brother or my cousin or my preem. That's what they call cousins down here. They are so cool. I'm being serious. I'm being serious. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. And the Rio Grande Valley has its own culture, but the culture here in Willacy County, it's like they think they are so badass. It's full of a bunch of narcissists. Narcissists that would never go live with no makeup on. Narcissists that could never survive half the shit that I survived. Narcissists that would never stand up. They can say that they are this and that, but they would never, ever do everything a parent can do the way that I did. But they all talk shit about me because they come from cool families, right? And I've never cared about that. I don't care how cool you are. I care how you make me feel. I don't care how cool you are. I don't care what kind of car you have. That shit don't matter to me. I don't care how many friends you have. I don't care how many of your friends are popular. I don't care. I don't care if you're one of those families and I have to survive, a person in power from one of those families. That's why this is America. That's why we have democracy. Right? So I had to, I would love to. Thank you. Thank you, Danita. She says, are you coming over to my house for Thanksgiving? This year, I give thanks the way that I always give thanks, right? Every year. I give thanks to everybody. I give thanks that not the whole world is like the people that I've survived. I give thanks that not the whole world is like the people from my hometown. They're not all like that. They look down on the ones that are not like them. They care sometimes. Sometimes those care with, I don't care. I don't care. Who are they? What have they accomplished? They have not no. If I haven't never sought your approval, why would I care what a little popular hometown person thinks of me? Never. Not once. I had people coming after me, I remember. Right? Seriously. That's what I had to say. Oh, what happened? Oh, I didn't even tell you. Yeah. They came after me in using every civil and criminal process. I'm not even kidding. It's like a movie. Every single move they made is like a movie. It is literally unbelievable. You would not believe what they did. You would not believe how they failed me too. Because after a while of people, you see, if you can imagine my little hometown haters, right? Okay? The ones, and it's like, I pray for them. Where are you now? Because I know you're still in town. All of you. I know because I see you at HEB. I see you when I'm getting gas. What great things have you done with your life? My life was stalled. My life was in an upward trajectory my entire life, and it's proven. My entire life. Right? I was constantly progressing every single year of my life until... What's going on here? Why are y'all at... What's going on here? Okay, first of all, there's a school government code. Secondly, there's these laws. Okay, the police aren't following them. Okay. The district attorney's not following them. Okay. The judge is not following them. Okay. Y'all think y'all are just gonna do this to me and no one's gonna know about it? No. If no one's listening to me, that's fine. And once they started, attacking me, right? Like, with every criminal and civil process possible, that's fine. I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know how many times you're going to do it. But I'm just going to put a spotlight on myself. That's it. That's all I can do. And just let it happen. Because I will not stop surviving. That's not going to happen. I know that's why you're doing it. I know if you say, maybe if we arrest you once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did it work? Absolutely not. That's because I've not even made effort to increase my reach. I've not monetized my page. I've not done what all these little haters from the public has sprouted out doing. By the way, if that Manny behind the mic starts to stream me, let me know so that I can share his video right now so that you all can go report it. I do not mind. This is a survival video. Thank you all. I am so thankful for those people that have been helping me report that man, right? Okay. That's a little bit about what this video is about. And I don't know what he's thinking. Does he just not know? I mean, I know he's obsessed with me, right? It's a weird, scary obsession. But you would think that he would do his research enough to understand that what he was trying to expose the other day, I've already survived that. With that regulating agency on me, I've already survived that. I have survived that. I have survived that. That happened by default. I have survived it, and I'm going to survive that. I'm going to survive that. Okay? Thank you, Danita. Thank you. It's lies, Tara. Tara Costin says, so Vanessa, is this case closed? How can a case be closed? Thank you. That's what this video is about. So not only did this man try to convince the public, oh, look at the trouble she's in. But smart people, the only people that would want to believe that or propagate that, would be people, I mean, did you not read the small print? Or, I mean, what's going on, right? You know? What's going on? Right? Either way, what he's doing is harassment, because he went farther than that. He went farther than that. And the thing is that as my survival went on, people from the public thought, oh, well, we can do that to her too. Yeah. We're going to do what the police is doing to her. Right? So when I would survive the loudest ones, they really got angry, because they were the kind of people that nobody had survived them their whole lives. I guess they had bullied people their whole lives. No one had ever stood up to them. And then for someone to survive you publicly, they took it personally. That's what I'll always believe. And I'll always believe that the ones that took it most personally, were the ones that were behind my beating. Always. No one will ever make me stop talking about that. Ever. Now, before I go on, and before I read to you something, an email that I sent, right? I want you to know this. I don't know why that man, right, that stalked me here, the one that came over to literally put his dentured face in my window, and he was the same one that was paying that woman, Ofelia Moreno. Why are you always talking about John Allen there? I said his name too. John Allen, Ofelia Moreno. It's even. There. Right? Gosh, I didn't know my haters were going to be, getting mad at, you ain't giving me that much attention when you're trying to expose us for possibly being behind your hate crime. Yeah, that's where I come from. It's okay, Tara. I'm working on something. I'm working on something. That man very much treasures his tiny little social media. It's not even a footprint. It's like a pinky toe print, right? Because it's like nothing. But the thing is, to the rest of the world, it may seem like nothing. But here in the Rio Grande Valley, people are so easily influenced. I'm not kidding. If somebody's indicted, they don't understand that an indictment is not proof. If they see a mugshot, they don't understand that. And, people have taken advantage of that, because I'm not the only one that has happened to, but there's not another person that it has happened to with as much brutality and with as much frequency as it has happened to me. Not one. But there's been other people that they have tried. And it's like, oh, let's just get her, let's just get, even though the charges aren't going to stick, let's just get the mugshot on her or him. Because people don't ever believe that. Right? And the media that puts it out there never comes back and says, oh, by the way, this person whose mugshot, or the newspapers that we splashed everywhere, right? So that we could just get you to look at our, dying newspaper. Because nobody wants to read our shit anymore. Nobody wants to watch our news anymore, because everybody wants to watch real, authentic people. They'd rather watch real, authentic people talk about the things that are in the news than to actually watch the people from the news. And that's the truth. Those people never go back and say, oh, by the way, this person that we exploited for their arrest, yeah, this and this and this about them. You see, that's the reason, I'm going to vindicate myself. That's the reason that not only is not only me in the midst of my survival, I'm going to be as loud as I possibly can be. It's not going to be in vain. Absolutely not. No. I'm going to be as loud as I can with my redemption. Nobody's going to take that away from me. Ever. Nobody. Nobody. So, after a while, people from the public, they were listening to this hater, and that hater recruited, Ofelia Moreno. Frank Mar, okay? Recruited Ofelia Moreno. And, they all grouped together. Frank Mar, Ofelia Moreno. It's all these people that did not know each other. They didn't know each other. None of these, in my opinion, evil. All I have to do is just play their words. You can't, that's you talking. That's you saying those things. There's not a video of me saying those things about anybody. That's you. You can try looking all you want, try manipulating all you want, but you're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. Right? And so all of them, Annette Gonzalez, Ofelia Moreno, her sister Angie, and it's so sad because half of my haters have literally tried, they think they are so charismatic and, I'm gonna do my own show. This isn't a show, this is a survival page. This is not a show. This is my life. This page, my personal page, it backs up my book. Your page does, your page doesn't back up what you say. If anything, it underscores what I will say. It underscores what I will write. Right? I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Alyssa Renee says, what's the deal with them? Why don't they like you? I mean, you follow her here. Alyssa, it's the purest form of hate. The purest form of hate is setting your eyes on someone that you've never seen before. And you immediately want to destroy them. Think about it. If I did not know, and it happened, every single one, Frank Mar, same thing, saw me, I'm going to destroy her. Ofelia Moreno saw me, I'm going to destroy her. John Allen saw me, I'm going to destroy her. Annette Gonzalez saw me, I'm going to destroy her. That little Patricia that lately here had tried to do it, I'm going to destroy her. That little Kathy Woods that I had forgiven and then she started her shit again, right? She did. I'm going to destroy her. And when I mean destroy, I mean destroy. I mean destroy. I mean make hate pages. Try to change the public's opinion of that person. Try to say, oh, she's in trouble. She can't even do, skilled nursing. She's just wiping asses. Wiping asses is being a nurse is which, I'm not, right? But I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the people that have ever been offended by the hate that has come my way. Because, for him to be like, she's just wiping asses. He's putting down, do you know how many millions of nurses' aides are in the United States alone? I'm so sorry to all of you. Because he doesn't understand that that's a noble profession. But what would you expect from a man who sells Avon for a living? Or Mary Kay, whatever it is. Who has a senora job. Right? That's, you're a man and you have a senora job. Right? As if he's never going to be like, as if he's going to be that age forever and he will never need the help. I hope that he remembers his words when he's getting his ass wiped and he's getting pericare in a hospital bed. I hope he remembers that. I hope he remember. I wouldn't be surprised if a nurse's aide told him, hey, weren't you the one that was making fun of that lady one time? A long time ago? Weren't you the one that was saying, you know, something right? How embarrassing. How sad. Right? I love you, Lillian. She says, I'll tell you what happened. They didn't like you, that you spoke. They didn't like you speak the truth. They hate the way you had balls and brought to light all the injustices. They hate that you are... You're right. They hate that you are the voice. Thank you for your courage. By the way, that Ophelia woman is the most vulgar thing I've seen and heard. She is evil and a fucking monster. It's disgusting. Thank you for your courage. God holds your right hand, mija, all the way. We who believe in you hold your left. I love you. May God continue to give you strength and hugs. Hugs right back to you. So you've had all these little haters that just pop up, right? I mean, there's a lady, a Puerto Rican grandmother, right? Doesn't even use her whole name because, you know, you're not going to make me believe, no, I just like just using my whole name. No, why? Why? You involved yourself in this. The other day she was talking about, you know, something like, she was saying something about this about Vanessa's not AI or this and that. What business is it of yours? What any human does, that is their personal decision. Huh? It's your personal decision to make your face looking like that. Keep looking like that. Right? It's your personal decision to keep looking like you're an open mouth sleeper. It would be awful if somebody made fun of you for that. Go look it up. I don't, you know. It's people like that got involved in my story. And all the haters that got involved in my story, every single one of them has complained about, oh my God, they're doing this to me. Oh my God, they're coming at me. Oh my God, they're doing this. You all got involved. Frank Mars saw me on site, wanted to destroy me. What was I doing? I was surviving. I got political. And what about it? What about it? Ofelia Moreno. What about it? Oh, you were fighting with, you know, this other person and this, and you ain't nobody's hero. If I survive somebody, I survive somebody. And me and that person are fine. But if I survive somebody, you ain't nobody here. You ain't nobody's hero. Everybody knows. You see, all of these people that are involved, they think that this story is never going to be so interesting because it is so incredibly unbelievable. Nobody would ever believe that. No one would ever believe any of my story because it literally sounds like something that nobody would even think of even making up. But they did all that. They did all that. Thank you, Elizabeth. Tell your grand. She says my granddaughter just finished her clinicals to be a CNA. Thank you. Tell her that I said thank you for her service. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm so sorry for all of you that may have been offended because that man, and they all do that. They all do that. They all do that. This is not the first time. They'll see that I'm a nurse and they'll try to just level me. They all try to humble me. All of them. No, I don't know none of these people. I've never known any of these people. None. None at all. Right? And so that man, I guess, wanted to live a quieter life, the one that recruited Ofelia Moreno. It's the same man that during the 3-hour beating that I survived, which I'm going to talk about right now, He was sent a live stream of the beating. I was halfway surviving that 3 hours. And he posted on his page with a caption that said, Vanessa Tijerina is being beaten right now. He didn't call the police. It's almost as if he knew. Right. Everything from my beating, all those pictures that you see, those were from his page. People don't really know that. They were screen grabs from what he posted initially. Maggie Strubble says, proud hospice and vent CNA and medication aid right here. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. And again, I apologize to everybody that was offended, to everybody that has ever been offended by to people who are overweight. I'm so sorry. You know, because I know it's because a lot of you watch me and then you see how they insult me, and I don't ever want you all to feel bad, because I don't feel that at all, but I know people that may be watching me are like, well, damn, they think that about her, and then you wouldn't want somebody to tell you that, right? Don't listen to that shit. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for any insecurities that my haters may trigger in you while they fiercely try to trigger those insecurities in me, which will never happen. That will never happen. And I thank God. I thank God for the ability for me. That man's weapon of choice, Manny, is humiliation. What he doesn't know, I mean, he really thinks, I mean, it's humiliation. That doesn't work on me. It doesn't. But in the process of him trying to humiliate me and, I guess, affect me, he's normalizing this. People started normalizing this down here. I'm not kidding you. Yeah. Teachers, there was teachers, nurses that were on those hate pages. You will not see one anymore like that. I think that Patricia was the last one. No professional wants to. It's like I've always said, no dignified human will ever do, you know? Terry Cossin says, then why isn't he in jail? Why isn't who in jail? Why? Who? Manny? That's an offense that you'd probably be, you will be, you know, if it's a first, second, third offense, that's different. But second, third, fourth offense for the same thing, harassment, right? That's different, right? Nobody knows that I'm, you know, exactly what I'm doing. He may or may not be in jail next year. You know? I mean, that's the kind of thing you get bonded out for, right? Especially if it's your first time. And then he's going to be crying about, oh my God, this was an injustice. This was an injustice. You were saying that a woman with autism doesn't have autism. You were allowing a platform for hate when your audience members are there saying, oh my God, what an insult to people with autism. Do you know how proud people with autism are of me? That I'm one of their tribe? No neurodivergent. No neurodivergent or evil person with autism, because there are some. Because there's some of them are on his page. Nobody evil And no neurodivergent should have shit to say about how autistic people should feel about anything. Nobody. The one who, no, that's what I'm going to tell you right now. That's what I'm going to talk about right now, Tara. She says, she had first asked, why isn't he in jail? I was never going to get justice. Never. They did the crime in Willacy County. In the same county with the same district attorney that has abused her powers against me. Over and over and over and over again. She knew about the police planted evidence in my car. For 3 years, she knew about that. Her assistant DA, her assistant prosecutor, she was like, oh my God. She quickly left. They all have an excuse. As soon as they see, because they don't want to be involved in it. They're brand new lawyers, you know. They don't want to be, they do not know until they get it. That's why there's such, don't believe me? It should be public records. The high turnover rate of assistant prosecutors in Willacy County. Amanda White says, being a hospice CNA myself, I can say we do way more than white people's behinds. Much respect to nurses, aides, and yes, Amanda. Yes, and nurses, especially in hospitals and, you know, skilled nursing facilities and rehab facilities would be nothing without nurses, aides. We couldn't do it all alone. So, all these people, and it's just so strange. The hardest thing is to get people to understand this is the purest form of hate. It's the purest form of hate. That's why you can never ask them, why do you don't like her? Why don't you hate her? And if they even have an answer, the answer, usually they don't. 99% of the time they don't. But if they do happen to open their mouths to answer something, it's something that the majority of people hearing would be like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with you. That's not a reason to hate anybody. There's never a reason to hate anybody, but that's not valid. No. Thank you, Antoinette. Thank you. Thank you. She's a CNA too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service, Amanda White. Right? Don't forget, let me know if he's been, let me go ahead and check. That way. Let me check real quick. Right. Not yet, right? Okay. So, the other day, you see, they normalized it. They normalized all of this. They normalized it. They thought it was so cool. And out of all of the towns and counties in where I live, in the area of Texas where I live, this is probably the most impressionable. I love you, Sherry. I love you. I love you. She says, you don't have to apologize. They fucked up when they tried to hurt and destroy you. I'm like you. I am a fighter also. I teach children with autism, very strong, highly intelligent adults and children of autism. You stand up and are also educating those who don't. I love you, Sherry. That's what that man does. He said, he don't know if I have a diagnosis or not. He don't know if I've been formally diagnosed. He has no clue. That ain't your business. That ain't your business, but you go ahead and you keep doing what you think you're doing. But when a person is saying, this is what I have, right? And then they can prove that that is indeed what she has, right? You chose to do that, right? And Sherry, that's one of the biggest aspects of my book. People, because of what you just said right now, then you have to know that people with autism, especially high functioning people with autism, value their autonomy above everything. Their autonomy means everything. Don't mess with my autonomy. Especially if I did nothing wrong. And do not mess with my autonomy by creating an injustice. Because we have a strong sense of fairness, which is the basis of justice. Where I come from, people would be laughing at this. I'm not kidding. That's the way. That's this county. That's the way it is. Using big words, this and that. I'm being serious. That's what I have survived. You know, I can tell right off the bat. You know, I have a dignified human. Till the day that I cease to live this human experience, this lifetime, I promise you, not one dignified human will ever oppose me. Not one dignified human will ever oppose me. Not one. They will all be like that. All of them. Every single one. Every single one. And it takes a lot of patience. And, you know, if you have autism or if you have ADHD singularly, right? You have a 75% chance. There's a 75% chance that you're undiagnosed of the other. Right? So having both is really difficult because you especially when you're high functioning, it's not just about masking. It's about having patience. So when you have something like autism and you have a strong sense of injustice and how could you do this to me? How could you do this to me? Like, none of this is fair. Like, all of this is wrong. And you're going to continuously do this to me. That's why you saw me in the beginning when I was surviving. I was a very, you see the evolution of my survival. I had to learn to control the ADHD part of me. You know? I had to, and I had to have patience. And I had to have, you know, not everybody, and there's a lot of probably maybe high-functioning autistic people that don't believe in God and that are agnostic, you know, whatever. I respect that. So please respect that I am a huge believer in Christ. Huge. He was the most rejected human to ever live. The most. He was the most abandoned human to ever exist. How am I not going to look up to him? How am I not? That man, Maddie with the mic, thinks that me speaking of Jesus and speaking of how Jesus' story allows me, gave me patience and said, you know, if Jesus can go through that, if that man at 33 years old can go through that, you can do it too. He'd say, she's not Jesus. But he's also spreading hate. He's also spreading hate. But if my hypothesis is correct and he is a, you know, because people think that people who are calm and don't really say anything and keep a monotone have a control over their emotions. That's not always the case. There's human beings that are very dangerous that give the impression that their emotions are, you know, Nothing's affecting me. Meanwhile, inside, they are raging. They are raging. With hate, with evil, with bad intentions, with cruel intentions, with brutal intentions. So, the other day, what he did was, and then, so Frank Marr, the reason you ask is why was he not arrested was because I got no justice. The district attorney, when that happened to me, when I survived that, I knew she was not going to give me justice. I'm going to read you the email that I wrote to her just recently. 2 days ago. I knew I wasn't going to get justice. How was I going to get justice from somebody that's trying to create injustices? It makes no sense. There should be a law. There should be a law that says that if you are prosecuting somebody that eventually becomes a victim, you get the fuck off of her cases where she is a victim, because you are not going to expect, no reasonable person is going to expect a district attorney who is trying to create injustices in the life of somebody that now becomes a victim of a brutal hate crime to fight zealously and turn over every stone to make sure that person gets justice. There's no way. No, any reasonable person would know there's no way that I was ever going to get justice. They were willing to ruin the lives of young adults to carry out their abuses of power. And if they weren't in power, it was to carry out their abuses of me. It's the purest hate. He was never... well, you know what? When I read you the email, you're going to know why there was no justice for me, because it says it all there. It says it all there. Right? I've kind of briefly mentioned it, but part of my survival is doing my best to report these people to their mandating agencies, which is the only way that I was able to get a district court judge off all of my cases. Do you know how hard that is to do in Texas? If I go get a file right now, I can show you every single court case had a motion an order from the 5th Administrative Regional Judge. Every single case is separate, because for every single case they said, get him off her cases. But there should be a law that says that once you do that, you need to go back and fix the injustices. Obviously, if you're taking him off her cases, that means that she has convinced you. There is no way. Look at what this man is doing. So if he has, before that moment, already made decisions in her life that have affected her life greatly, then all of those decisions need to be reevaluated. Tara 12. Thank you, Sherry. She says, absolutely high functioning, and you are the most amazing young woman I have followed. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. And the thing is, you know what else? I'm so sorry for all those people without it. If you're a neurodivergent like me, right? I'm so sorry. I apologize about that Manny guy. I apologize. Because that's one of those things that, you know, just like he said that about wiping asses, right? She doesn't sound autistic, because these people they're not very bright. They do not, it's a spectrum. They don't understand that it's a spectrum. They don't understand. It doesn't even give them a clue that the symbol for our tribe is a puzzle piece for a reason. Because there is no puzzle piece. There is no puzzle piece in the world that is identical to another one. He doesn't get that. He doesn't understand that the high functioning autism, you can train yourself. Well, people with autism don't do that. Who told you that? Who told you that? You see, those are assumptions. And his audience is made up of those people. I'm not kidding. So that man that stalked me is one of those that went to his page, and he uses that page, as his own little, whatever. And I emailed that to, maybe that's why John Goodman got off his, he was there trying to help somebody that's, person charges against Ophelia Moreno for harassment. And I was like, this is a man that's helping that man. If you do not know, this is that man. This is what that man has done to me. And I don't know if it's because he's white. I don't know if he goes in there and he's just talking like this, because he does talk like that. And that we're very impressionable down here. If somebody with an English accent comes down here to the Rio Grande Valley, everybody's going to think that they are the smartest person in the room. I'm not kidding. I'm a sucker for an English accent. In the man's. I'm being serious. But that's a romantic kind of thing. No. If somebody were to come here and be a hater, God forbid, with an English accent, their following would be huge. So sad. Because that's how impressionable people are down here. And that guy, Manny, he knows that. And he takes advantage of all these people who are not that smart. But he also knows that when Frank Marr, he wasn't investigated. That's why he was never put in jail. But like I said, right now I'm going to read the email, and it all says everything that I'm about. Don't worry. My videos always, it's going to work out. Watch. So, I thank y'all for, I'm very grateful for not just, everything. Your positive energy, your prayers, just like I said the other day. For helping me report that man, right? For all of that. And so that man, John Allen, was seen across the street from my home. His likeness. A lot of people do not know that when this started, one of the things that I did was I started going to the city meetings, the school board meetings, and everything. And when I saw that the school police were classifying Class A assaults as Class C assaults, that made me go into a whole, why would they be doing that, right? Because when something doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to want to know, is it something wrong with the person? Like they don't know better? Or are they just corrupt? Right? Are they willfully, are they, innocently ignorant, or are they willfully corrupt? And they were willfully corrupt. They were purposely classifying Class A assaults as Class C assaults. Because it had to do with their grant money. They had to maintain a fake level of, our campus is unsafe enough that we need officers. So we need the grant money. But it's not so unsafe for you to take our grant money away. And be like, well, obviously it ain't working. So you're going to have to go back to, the city police helping y'all. No more grant monies. They can't lie. I recorded every time I went to a video. Man, I recorded when my son had a Class A assault and an officer was saying it was a Class C assault. I have everything that I will ever tell you, everything that I will ever write in my book is documented. That's what these people don't understand. As hard as they try to be like, oh, well, you shouldn't believe her because of this. You shouldn't believe her because of this and this. You're not going to convince the rest of the world. I'm not going to look like a fool. I'm not going to say anything that I cannot back up. No way. That's redemption. How am I ever going to receive redemption if I were to do something like that? So Frank Marr basically handed the baton to that guy Manny, right? And so when he saw that Frank Marr was no longer, kind of started, not being as hateful, right? Well, that was his opportunity to, step into the hate spotlight, right? Because there was no way that he's an opportunist. There's not another platform that, he went all out. Everything. He's tried everything to build an audience. Using StreamYard, paying people for graphics for his cover pictures and shit like that. I mean, seriously, like, really went all out. Really trying his hardest. But it's hate. It's nothing but hate. Right? So, that other day when he did a 3-hour live, right? I mean, I could do it. We all know. We all know. We don't really know what goes through the mind of a sociopath or a psychopath, if indeed that's what he is. We don't know exactly why they do what they do. But it's clear that there are things that I've been doing that he's trying really hard to be good at. And he's not succeeding. But I'm not doing them I never did this for any kind of notoriety. And my proof is, go through my personal Facebook. I rarely ever posted anything. I didn't get on social media. I didn't do anything like that. I was living a quiet life. I was living what I thought was a beautiful life. Until they messed with my children. Until they denied justice to my children. And when I spoke up, they started to come after me. And then they denied me justice. And then they thought that if they just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it, they would eventually wear me down. No, I will wear you down. I will wear you down. I will get back up more times than you can knock me down. Always. Always. Don't believe me? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That is a longevity thing. Just, when see me at the end of my life. See me at the end, unless they do a cowardly thing. Like give orders for 5 people to beat her with this, beat her with that. Unless they do some cowardly thing like that. I'm going to get back up every single time. No matter what. No matter what. No one's going to do that to me. I mean, no. Nobody's going to do that to me. I'm sorry, no. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to risk you or anybody trying to... That's why I started becoming really authentic. If you all don't remember, it was March of 2023 when I went live and I said, y'all, I'm going to be more of me. You may not understand what I'm saying, but I'm going to drop my mask and just be more authentic. I'm going to be me. I'm actually quite funny and hilarious, right? But I couldn't do that. Because who's going to take you seriously if people know that you're actually a really funny person and that you can do this and that you can do that? Nobody's really going to take your survival story seriously. But when I decided to be me, it was because I had Ofelia Moreno and Frank Martin, all these people trying to change, literally trying to make people hate me. And I was like, I've never had anybody hate me in my life. Not like that. People that really know me, they don't hate me. In fact, it's the opposite. And in that moment, I said, that's how you're going to have to undo their lives is be more authentic. And little did I know, that was before the world knew about the Spain scale. SPANE. I didn't know that. I didn't know. Thank you, God. I did not know that of all the human emotions, the most powerful one is authenticity. More than love, more than hate, more than anything, it's authenticity. The power to be authentic? No, it's rare for somebody to be able to be authentic. That's why people say, you know, try to do that live without no makeup. Right? Because you're being your authentic self. Right? Talk about your transgressions. Talk about your failures. Talk about that. Talk about vulnerability as part of authenticity. Speaking, I could do this in front of 1 million people. And it'll be like if I'm just doing this. It will not faze me. Not everybody can do that. The biggest fear of the majority of people in the world is, first of all, they care too much what people think about them. And that's why the biggest fear is public speaking. People fear speaking in public. Now, my haters, you see? That's why people that don't know any better, they think, oh, well, they're like her because they do this like her. No. Manny, behind the mic? No. Speak to millions of people? No. No. Ofelia Moreno? Absolutely not. No. Frank Mar? No. None of them. And the thing is, I was never competing with them. Never. 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 I was just surviving. Right? I'm sorry, Joelle. This isn't a question and answer right now. And let me get to the email. So the other day, at 2 a.m, I started getting a lot of messages, right? And I love y'all. Y'all were letting me know what he was saying and what he was doing. And John Allen was on there, right? And John Allen was saying things like, you know, yeah, Ariel doesn't have a warrant anymore. All of my assailants had to show up. I know that because I read my victim statement. I went to every single court date. And at every one of their sentencing, I read my victim statement. At every single one of theirs. Right? I couldn't do that with Ariel because Ariel did not show up. And because she did not show up, showing up to sentencing means that you're giving yourself up to the custody of a state. Or to the United States, depending what kind of court it is. She didn't show up. And so this guy was trying to torment me, both of them. You're trying to tell a woman with autism that survived a very violent crime. And you think that you look cool doing that? You think you look like a man doing that? That makes you look like a man? That makes you feel like a man? Both of you. Him and John Allen. Right? So there I am having to verify that shit. And obviously I needed peace of mind. Right? No, her warrant is still active. However, I found some other things out. So as soon as that happened, I started making phone calls. Obviously, I'm going to find out what's going on here. Right? Because I have a lot of rights as a victim, especially a victim of violent crime. And Annette, I know you're watching this because I'm going to read the email that I sent to you. Here in my small town, they never believed me when I would tell them. Everything that I've done at a small scale, you should be smart enough to realize that I'm going to do it in a bigger scale. So whenever they were classifying Class C assaults, Class A assaults as Class C assaults, and they were gaslighting me. That's what these people in power were doing. They kept gaslighting me, telling me, oh no, that's not what it is. Because that's what gaslighting is. My son has a hematoma because another kid twice his size, who has been known to do this to other children in school, caused that. That is a Class A assault, because a Class A assault in Texas is pain with visible injury. He had a whole ass hematoma on his head. Right? Don't lie to me. Oh, that's a Class C assault, ma'am. Get out of here. I know you're a police officer, sir. I'm a nurse. And I've already had an arrest for a Class C assault, so I know that's not a Class C assault. And I survived that. And the judge stated that your little friends from the city, because you're a school cop, the judge stated it looks like this law enforcement agency just did whatever this other woman wanted to do to this defendant. Not guilty. So I already know, and on top of that, I'm a biologist. I have my degree in biology. I'm gonna know some things. I also had to go and be a paralegal because I needed to know how to file things, and I needed to know what certain things meant. Like, if you're gonna do this, then I'm going to try to get every tool I can to survive. That's what you do. That's why, Angie Gongora, Ofelia Moreno's sister, and Annette Gonzalez, and she's not a biologist. Oh my God, she's a biologist. She's a wannabe this, and she's a wannabe that, and it's all jealous, hateful. If you weren't jealous, you wouldn't be saying it. If you weren't jealous, you wouldn't be saying it. Do you know what a fool I would look like if I'm there saying I'm a biologist, and I cannot produce my transcripts one day? And my diploma and everything, my credentials, that I can't prove that I was the first graduating class of the newest paralegal course it's very stringent, by the way. It's a wonderful course. It was a summer course at UTRGV. Right? I literally had to post a picture of us in the newspaper because these people were like, we don't believe it. I don't need you to believe it, but I just want you to see what fools you look like. So I had to survive in every possible way, right? And so when the police were saying that, and Annette, there's a reason that I'm doing this, and the reason that I'm saying this, you're going to find out later, right? Because you're violating my rights as a victim. You already know how. You already know what you're doing. Because that's what I explained to this one lawmaker that I spoke to. And I've had to find the precise lawmaker. In the same way that I had to do my research and be like, who wrote this law? Who was the legislator that wrote the law that these officers are interpreting, that are allowing them to say, because of this law, we're right? That shit don't make no sense. I cannot see that passing Congress. And sure enough, that's when I found out it was Senator John Whitmire, who's now the mayor of Houston. But back then, he was a senator. And he cleared up so much damn corruption. I love, that man's awesome. There was so much corruption, I believe, in West Texas, and he was a hero to a lot of people. But one thing he did was he created this legislation, right? So then I found out, okay, it's him. So then I call. They were in a legislative session at that time, and I spoke to his policy advisor. I explained to her. I have her name and everything. And she was like, I actually helped him write that legislation. Yeah, they are interpreting it wrong. They didn't like that I did that, and that I went to the next school board meeting and said, I spoke to the policy advisor that wrote the law that you all are interpreting wrong. Why are you lying? Why, did you not think I was going to find out? So my clue to you, Annette, without me actually telling you, is in the same way that I have to find out who wrote that law, who enhanced that law, or who added to that legislation. Because not all the time is it the same lawmaker. One lawmaker can make this great legislation, and then 2 years later, another lawmaker can say, we need to add this to that legislation. You don't think that I'm going to be smart enough to call that lawmaker regarding the thing that I feel in my heart that you're violating? And that I explained when I explained to them. I was like, and I was surprised because I saw when the phone rings and you don't have the contact saved, and it said a Texas representative. State of Texas representative. And I was like, what spam call is this? You know, is my phone listening to the stuff that I'm saying, talk about? No, it was his chief of staff. And all of these people in my small town, and I guess they thought because I have judge's robes, because I have a badge, because I have a law degree, she will never survive me. When you choose a victim that's a creature unlike any you have ever victimized, which means you do not know how that victim works. You do not know what that victim is capable of. You do not know how creative that victim is. Because that's what power is. It's like I made a reel the other day, and it took me a long time to understand power is creativity. That's what power is. Power is creativity. Power is the creativity to be able to have such a good campaign that you get, elected. Power is the creativity to be able to put yourself out there and to speak to the people and to choose the right words and to convey a feeling to them, because people do not always remember what you say, but they will forever remember how you made them feel. There's creativity that is behind evoking that feeling. And it's not just about the words that you choose to say. It's about your cadence. It's about the way that you say it. It's about your tone. It's everything. If you want attention to a certain thing, you must be more creative than your opposition. If you are going to war on land, different countries, you have to be more creative than the soldiers that you're fighting against. You have to. It's all about creation. It's all about creativity. That is the most power that you can have. The most powerful people in the world are the most richest people in the world because they were the most creative. Creativity is power. And on top of that, if you have the ability to transmute energy, please. That's fucking amazing. Nobody from my little town is going to understand that. Because they don't believe in that shit. I've never needed them in 12 years or nearly 50 years to ever believe in anything that I believed in. I just needed to not ever stop believing it based on their mindset. I couldn't let anybody ever in this world affect and influence me. People who are easily influenced. Think about it. When you think about your ex-boyfriends, ladies. You may not remember all of the words that they ever told you, but you remember, if you think of one, you remember how he made you feel. If he made you feel loved, if he made you feel appreciated. You may not remember why, but you will always know, and you know that you're right in your mind. Because, well, you lived your life, you know that. But you may not remember exactly why you feel that way, because time has gone by and you have maybe forgotten about the little things that were done or the things that were said and the words, exactly the words that were said. The same thing goes for the worst ones. When you think about them, you just stiffen up and you're just like, I know. No. Because they made you feel a negative way. So, in the same way that I did that, Annette, you're going to be watching this. That's what I had to do. You're not going to violate my rights as a victim. If you violate, the school police violated my son's rights as a victim. And I went and did all my research to finally speak to the policymaker regarding the law that you were violating, thereby violating his rights as a victim. Creating a complete injustice. What makes you people in power think that when you do that to me, that I'm not going to do the same for myself? And I'm kind of glad that the person that particular rep is a Republican. I really don't care about that stuff because I'm an independent mind. You've run as I've run as a Green Party, I've run as everything, and whatever label is behind my political, whatever political label is behind my name, the one thing that will never change is my stance on the things that matter. Never. That's all that people care about. Political parties were simply made to put your name on a ballot. That's it. That's all they were created for. That's it. But in the same way that they try to leverage the whole Democrat stuff, a lot of my haters that are white try to do that to me. And a lot of Hispanics down here, I'm not even kidding, there's a lot of Hispanics that are Republican and they somehow think that they're better than the other Hispanics that are Democrat. I'm not even kidding. That's where I live. They're like that. They're like that. I'm not even kidding. If I have haters that are Republican and Democrat, even they know I'm not lying. Even they know. Right? So I was happy to see that was a Republican. And I told him, I said, the people that I speak about to you, that I feel are violating my rights, they are the worst Democrats. The most evil Democrats that the world has not heard of yet, by the way. By the way. So, of course I'm going to use that to my advantage. Absolutely. This is my survival. This is my self-preservation. Look at Manny with the mic. He considers himself a Republican. He probably goes to sleep every night, and those people that are his audience members don't even realize that he probably feels like a king when he's on his platform, because look at all these peasants that are watching me. I don't feel that way about y'all. You all give me energy. I would not have a platform if it wasn't for the people that are watching me. And I've always respected all of you. That's not what a person like him does. He's one of those Republicans that says, if you do the crime, you do the time. The other day he made a post that you all sent me, one of y'all sent me, that says police are now able to, take people into custody to get like a mental health evaluation. Well, it's only under certain circumstances, but you see, like, he believes in things that are like are injustices. He's one of those kind of Republicans. Not all Republicans are like that. But he's one of those. He's one of those. Right? And I have a lot of Republican tendencies, as I have Democratic tendencies, and people don't like that, especially down here. It's like, what are you? And I've had people say, what are you? Make up your mind. What are you? I'm an independent mind. You're just not used to it. You're not used to seeing a human being that agrees with the Republican Party on certain things, and they can also agree with the Democratic Party on certain things. And they can also agree with the Libertarian Party and the Green Party on certain things. They had never seen an independent mind. Well, an autistic person is very much independent. That's why they value autonomy above all. Right? I'm not kidding. Where I come from, this is the way they would react if they heard me say that. ¿Qué es autonomy? ¿Qué es eso? That's how... I'm not even kidding. That's where I come from. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, so the other day he gave the impression to everybody, as did John Allen, and I'm asking you all now, why would these men want the world to believe that the case is closed? And Annette, let me tell you something. Whatever moves you are making, because the case is still open right now that Ariel has not been apprehended, right? But if John Allen is correct and you are making moves to dismiss her charges, well, that's why I CC'd your state board, the state bar. That's why I CC'd the state bar. You don't know if you have a grievance. You don't know what regulating agency is watching you. But I need them to see how you move. I need them to see how you move. I need them to be CC'd in the correspondence between the victim. I need them to see this. And I need them to see how you react. I need them to see, is she going to make moves to somehow dismiss charges against this one person who did not, because all of my haters are trying to make the world believe, oh, first of all, they were trying to make everybody believe the case is closed. It's not. Because somebody still has a warrant. Annette, if you were to dismiss her charges, do you think that it's going to stop me from talking about this? No, not at all. In fact, I'd talk about it more. I'd make that another reason as to why none of this makes sense. And it all points to corruption. I'm not going to stop talking about it. Anybody who has watched any kind of television in the last 40, 50 years understands that a case can go cold and can be reopened. What's wrong with you? You're a prosecutor. You're a district attorney. You should know that. You're used to dealing with all these other people that you've targeted. But you're not used to dealing with me. Even after all these years, you are still not used to it because you still underestimate me. But wait until your grievance gets there. How are you going to explain that you violated the Michael Morton Act? You did. You did. How are you going to explain that you knew that officers planted evidence in my vehicle and you continue to prosecute me when the Michael Morton Act says you end the prosecution right then and there? How are you going to explain that? When it was you that tried to get me to get a plea deal because you were going to try to indict me by saying that I was tampering with a witness in some stupid, weird way, when you don't need to know who recorded those officers. The video speaks for itself. That's why it was able to be introduced into evidence. Finally. So since that day 3 years ago until April of this year, you knew. How are you going to explain to the state board that? That is not maybe a violation. No. Who's Michael Morton? Michael Morton was a man that was put in prison for a very long time by a corrupt prosecutor who I believe is the only prosecutor in Texas to ever have been arrested. That's how bad it is. They named the law after him. And they arrested the prosecutor that did that to him. He allowed Michael Morton, he knew of evidence that was exculpatory evidence, which means, exculpatory means you either violated their rights and this shit is wrong and you have to end the prosecution, or there's no way they could have committed that crime because of this evidence. Either way, it falls under that. And you must end the prosecution. But there was no Michael Morton Act in place when they did that to Michael Morton. But that man took an oath of, when he took his oath, it includes the oaths that Annette took to be a district attorney and a lawyer. But since that prosecutor, there's been things added to their duties. When, 5 years from now, lawyers who take an oath are going to, be promising to do or not do things that other lawyers before them didn't promise to do. But obviously, if you're a lawyer and they made that law, then you have to be grandfathered into it, and you have to know you're going to have to abide by that too. And they know that. Because the state bar lets you know that, right? My point is, how are you going to explain that? When it was the prosecution. The thing that you were going to try to indict me on was regarding a video of the police officers planting evidence in my car. How are you going to explain that? You see, all that is why I need to have eyeballs on you. All of that. All of that. Because if John Allen is correct, you're an investigator. I'm going to read my email right now. Right. So all of that led me to make a lot of calls, right? And then to ensure that, yes, she still does have a warrant, right? And I want you to know, and I want John Allen and everybody to know, I do not care if charges are dismissed on Ariel. In fact, do you know how angry the family, Amanda's family? Do you know how angry Amanda's family and Santana's family is going to be? That this district attorney dropped those charges just to, I don't know what she was thinking, that I was going to be quiet about it. No, I'm not. And those families are going to be fucking pissed at her, because it's going to be like, why did you drop the charges? She's the one that held her down. And she hit her too. She assaulted her also. In fact, she assaulted her whenever the police officer came to rescue her and was putting Santana in handcuffs. She then looked at me and assaulted me again. You're going to have to explain all those moves. But I am obviously going to have to be creative enough to CC your state bar, your regulatory agency. That's the way that I am putting a spotlight on your behavior. I don't have another choice. I'm not a person in power, and I wouldn't be abusing my power if I was in power. But I'm not going to let somebody abuse their powers against me and me not do something about it. I didn't survive this up until this point to only survive up until this point, ma'am. My goodness. Kellyanne says, I want you to know you are the reason I enrolled in law school. Good for you. I hope nobody ever targets you or stalls your life, because that's basically what I did. I mean, who would want... If you're somebody in power and you targeted somebody like me and then you found out, yeah, if I were to use street language, it's like, you fucked around and you found out. You're not going to want that person that made you, let you know. You want to find out? I'll let you find out. And that person had these aspirations to actually reach what you've reached, but surpass that. No, you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to do everything you can to discredit them, because now that scares you. You don't ever want your victim to become victorious. Never. Never. So the crime victims person called me because I called them, and I said, what's going on here? And I sent them Manny's video. I said, why is Manny and why is John Allen doing this and saying this so freely? Why are they saying the case is closed? I'm not going to keep letting you violate my... Ma'am, I'm going to survive you with your malicious prosecutions. And I'm going to survive you with your violations against me as a victim. Do you not understand that I'm going to survive everything you're doing to me in every aspect? I have to. I have to. What am I supposed to do? Become a recluse and just be like, well, they ruined my life and I can't do anything with my life? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. God did not give me the ability to not care about other people's opinions about me for a reason. God gave me the ability to be this resilient for a reason. God gave me the ability to be this authentic for a reason. And no one is going to convince me otherwise. God gave me the ability not to be convinced otherwise. Why am I going to throw away a gift like that? No. No, I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful for the universe to do that. None of my haters could make a video like I'm making right now. None of them. And I'm glad. I'm glad that God made me so different. Because otherwise, I would, oh my God, the popular people in town think that, no. I don't, get out of here. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. And I don't care if a bunch of you still act like if you're in high school and you keep up with each other and I'm still the lone wolf here. I don't care. I never cared about being part of your group before. I don't care about being part of it now. In fact, stay away. I don't ever want to hang out with you. No. I am, you know, yeah, I'm funny, but I'm a serious person. I want to do serious things with my life. Serious as in just reaching self-actualization. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So I had to call, I called the Vic, I sent a letter, I CC'd, I'll tell you right now who I CC'd. I sent the first email when I saw what Manny was saying and the lies that him and John Allen were promoting, right? Because you're not going to be bullying me like at all. But especially as a victim. You're not going to be out there saying that the warrant's not so active and this and that. And you in power are not going to be a district attorney that's going to think, I'm going to make you be scared to do that even if you're going to follow through with it. I'm still going to be you're still going to be scared to do it. Even though you're stupid enough, foolish enough, unwise enough, corrupt enough, criminal enough to do that and piss off Amanda and Santana's families? Simply because you think that by dismissing those charges, what? It's not going to make me be quiet. I get it. You're going to try to do that, and if she's not quiet like that, I'm still going to try to prosecute her, so maybe I can put her in prison. No, ma'am. It's not going to happen. You'll be in prison before I am. Oh my God. If you think that way, you do not understand how democracy works. You absolutely don't. This is not the pitch for you. All right, here we go. I sent it to... Here we go. Here it is. The first one that I sent to was... Well, let me just read it to you. This email, because of what Manny, hater with the mic, hater behind the mic or whatever, and John Allen were doing, a man who has stalked me, and a man who was never investigated. Well, yeah, it's all going to be in here. So because of what he did, trying to lie to the public, you know, the case was dismissed and this and that, and Ariel and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the case is closed and all that, right? So I did this. So I sent a letter, and I CC'd the fifth administrative region, who was the same regulatory agency that took Judge Cordova off all my cases, right? That is the same regulatory agent when I went to go file a recusal with the judge in the first case that I ever survived, right? And he tried to tell me, we're going to accept it, but we won't file it. That's how I found out about them. And they said, if you ever believe that something that is really important, that you need to get to a court, any court, county, justice of the peace, municipal court, county court, anything, district court, whatever, you send it to us. And then we'll send it to them. It will be considered filed once we get it. All right. So, I sent this email and I CC'd. I didn't even CC. I just sent it to everybody. I just realized that right now. I didn't CC anybody, actually. I sent this because it says to the 5th Administrative Region. I sent it to the State Bar of Texas. Yeah, the State Bar of Texas. Yeah. And I sent it to the TDCJ Victims Unit because I mentioned Julissa here. And why didn't anybody tell me that one of my assailants was out? And obviously, Annette Hinojosa, the district attorney, this is what I wrote. I said, hello. I am the victim in cause number 2021-CR-01198. A violent and brutal crime. The Willacy County District Attorney Annette Hinojosa has failed to notify me of important developments in my case. My assailants were sentenced to either 8, 10, or 15 years or given probation, all dependent on each assailant's level of involvement in the crime against me. The crime I survived. One defendant, assailant, did not show up for sentencing and received a warrant for not showing up, which is still active. So by the time I wrote this email, I already knew that it was still active. I knew that they were lying about that, right? One defendant / assailant did not show up for sentencing and received a warrant, which is still active. This is very important, and I will elaborate below, which I did as so. I was not notified that a defendant assailant, Julissa Acosta, was released from TDC and is now on parole. I was not notified that the one defendant, the aforementioned Ariel Vela, is possibly going to have their case dismissed, nor why. I mean, according to John Allen, right? If you're upset, Annette, well, then talk to John Allen about it. Your investigator has no problem talking to him. He knows how to get a hold of him because he worked with him too. I'll say it in the next email. All right. This is the assailant who held me down, also violently attacked me, causing a large amount of bodily injury. This is the same assailant who, when an officer arrived to rescue me, she also assaulted me while he was handcuffing the male assailant. then assaulted the officer as well. She assaulted him too. What is happening here? I am also a victim regarded as having high-functioning autism, ADHD, and PTSD caused by the violence I survived, but also the failure of the district attorney to respect my rights as a crime victim are affecting me in ways that no victim should ever be affected. I have been notified on nothing. No status changes, nothing. The Willacy County Crime Victim Services are of no help either. Because when I need them on the phone, I can never get them on the phone. Is my last resort, all right, to file a grievance on Annette Hinojosa with the state bar, who obviously I sent this to them, so they read this. Is as this is still her ultimate mandating licensing agency. I'm going to repeat that. Is my last resort to file a grievance on Annette Hinojosa with the state bar? Because I can't. You're doing this. You cannot be a district attorney in Texas or a prosecutor in Texas unless you are a lawyer. And when you become a prosecutor, you have prosecutorial duties. So yes, they're still your mandating agency. Is my last resort to file a grievance on Annette Hinojosa with the state bar, as this is still her ultimate mandating licensing agency. Who is in charge of enforcement when a district attorney fails to treat a defendant with the dignity they deserve by refusing to violate the rights afforded to crime victims in Texas? Please help me. I pray for the right thing to be done regarding the concerns in this email. Thank you, Vanessa Tijerina, victim, survivor, and I put my number. All right. Now, because of this letter, I guess that's why the crimes victim person called me on Monday. But I was literally in a hurry to, surviving everything that I'm surviving, making sure that I had the resources to survive, not just having the right lawyers, it's a lot for one person. I can see how they can easily overwhelm somebody into giving up. That's not in my nature, though. So here. This is the second email after that call. That's why I'm making this video. Here it is. I CC'd all the same people except the TDCJ. Because now this email, so I'll tell you right now. Is it this one? Oh, it's this one. Here we go. This was yesterday. I sent this email out yesterday. It's the subject of the email is update regarding cause number 2021-CR-01119A in the 197th District Court in Texas, right? And this one I sent it to, I didn't CC, I didn't even know that I did that. I sent it to the State Bar, Annette Hinojosa, and again, the 5th Administrative Region, because I want them all to see this, and I want them, because I think that, I know that if I was working for the State Bar, I'd be like, what the fuck is this lawyer doing? I'm interested now. I'd be interested. I want to know how she moves after this. Right? Thank you. So this is what I wrote. Hello. The Willacy County crime victims advocate called me back today. She assured me my assailant, which I had already been assured before she made the call. She assured me that my assailant, Ariel Vela, still has a warrant. And it is a warrant for not showing up for sentencing for the crime. against me, right? As you know, I suffered this crime due to hate from the public, people I had no idea existed until I had to survive them. Some of these hateful men have been tormenting me by creating hate pages stating and trying to convince the public that this case is closed. One commenter who is pushing this lie is John Allen, the one who worked with your investigator, Annette, to have Judge Cordova revoke my bond, even though I had 2 days prior been a victim of a violent domestic assault so bad that I had to miss court in front of Cordova because I was assaulted that morning on Tuesday, and Judge Cordova, being the kind of creature that he is, said, okay, then be back in 2 days on Thursday. I have a black eye in that mugshot. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to repeat that soon. One commenter who is pushing this lie is John Allen, the one who worked with your investigator to have Judge Cordova revoke my bond, even though I had just 2 days prior been a victim of a violent domestic assault, which means I should have never been treated as anything other than a victim of domestic assault, of domestic violence. You, Judge Cordova, saw me with my black eye, and it's in the mugshot. This matters because John Allen posted screenshots of emails working with your investigator to revoke the bond of a domestic violence victim. The whole law regarding the domestic violence thing is that anything that's done in the course of somebody suffering, especially violence, domestic violence, anything that happens, anything, they come out dirty on drug tests, they do whatever. You do not arrest them. They're doing that under duress. But you and Judge Cordova didn't care about that. This matters because John Allen posted screenshots of emails working with your investigator to revoke the bond of a domestic violence victim who feared she would not pass a drug test due to the night of violence she had endured. It matters because John Allen, like Ofelia Moreno, want the public to believe that they were ruled out and the case is closed, when none of that behavior is suspicious to you. You saw firsthand how aggressive Ofelia Moreno was towards me as she is depicted in a live video, stalking me in front of your political tent with you under that tent, just feet away. She and her sister then stalked me again after I left the area, which is on my timeline. They stalked me again. You are aware that Ofelia Moreno has a history of violence towards women. Yet, this doesn't matter enough to request any of what I'm about to elaborate on. Ofelia Moreno had access to Julissa before the crime to me occurred. Yet, this was told to your assistant DA and it didn't matter. And I told the police too in my victim statement. As it didn't matter that in the months leading up to my torture, I numbered them. It is public knowledge John Allen would pay Ofelia to stalk me. Now, I'll give you gas money to go and stalk her and find her location and let the public know. 2, John and Ofelia got in an argument because she misused money that he had given for her to buy alcohol to find a way to get me drunk and get me behind the wheel of a car so I could get arrested for drunk driving. 3, Ofelia was recorded on a publicly posted video complaining about money she lost that she paid for drugs that were to be planted in my vehicle. 4, Ofelia Moreno has continued to lie about being ruled out of this crime. 5, she was furious and raging that no bones in my face were broken. None of this mattered to you. The crime victim's person reassured me today that, quote, all people involved have been apprehended and there are no other suspects. She should have never told me that. I know that, you know what? Just read your email. Read the email, Vanessa. Read the email. Read the email. Read the email. Yet, Miss Hinojosa, you and the people investigating my hate crime, 1, failed to rule out the using the geolocations. You failed to subpoena the geolocations of John Allen when his likeness was seen in front of my home when the police were still searching for me to rescue me. Which I believe is why you put an obstacle in front of me, the victim, when you referred to the Attorney General my request for the officer body cameras while they showed up and the cameras of their cars. You didn't want 1 second of John Allen to be seen across the street of my home. That's what I'm going to believe. Because why would you not want me to see that? Because even 1 second of depicting him across the street from my home is enough to prove how corrupt you are for never ruling him out. 2, you and the people investigating my hate crime failed to rule out the messages, the phone calls, and all the communication between John Allen, Ofelia Moreno, and Frank Marr. 3, you and the people investigating my crime failed to subpoena the IP addresses that were attached to the live video stream, phones, profiles that were connected to the live video feed, when any reasonable prosecutor would know that needs to be requested and why it's important to be requested. But remember, I was never going to get any justice. Frank Marr received screen recordings of the live stream of my violent torture halfway through my 3-hour torture. He never called the police and instead wanted people to go to his page, as the caption that he wrote was, "Vanessa Tijerina is being beaten right now." This matters because Frank, Ofelia, and John Allen worked together to harass me and gang stalk me in the years and months and weeks and days and hours leading up to my crime that I survived. So when a crime victim advocate tries to make me feel better by reassuring me there's no other subjects, there's no other suspects, how do you think I feel as the victim knowing that you never ruled out the people above? Of course there's not going to be any, because you let those young adults take the fall for everything. Thus creating a scenario where it only seems that way. It only seems that there's no other suspects. That you didn't know. People do not know that you did not do what you should have done to absolutely make sure there's no other suspects. Because, of course, it's me. And you're prosecuting me. So I'm never going to get justice. Thus creating a scenario where it only seems that way instead of that being actually true, because you did all that. You failed to do all that a prudent prosecutor would do. Instead, it makes me feel unsafe because you failed me. Things like John Allen claiming that you are going to dismiss charges on my assailants matters. You have a duty to make me aware of developments. Any development, Annette. Not after. Not after you filed something. No, it's as you are developing the thing you're going to file, you have to notify me. You don't develop it, and that's why it says that you have to notify me of developments as they are developing. Not once you create another weapon of corruption for yourself. No. It is as you, oh, that's why you don't want me to know. Right? I'm being facetious. That's why you don't want me to know. You cannot possibly, me being the victim, notify me of developments that are truly a weapon that you're trying to form to help in your corruption. That's why. I will always believe that. Julissa is now amongst the public, free to communicate with people that you never ruled out. The person who gave the orders to do every single thing they did to me for 3 hours. You didn't take your ass up there to the parole board. No, you did not take your ass up there to the parole board. No, you didn't. You did not. Because it's Vanessa Pierina. You're prosecuting her. I'm never going to get justice. Julissa is now amongst the public and free to communicate with people you never ruled out, which any reasonable prosecutor would have done. That is safe for me? I questioned her. You put me in danger, and you put the public in danger by not ruling those people out. Why? Because when you keep those people and you keep them as never have been suspects and never ruling them out, then you allow them not only to reharm the person that's begging you to rule them out, but you put the public in danger if they decide to set their sights on another victim. Since you won't do any of the above, my only recourse is the State Bar questioning as to, remember, I sent this to the State Bar also, so they're reading that. Since you won't do, and before you say, ma'am, yeah, but that's not a grievance. First of all, you don't know who I've grieved to, if I've grieved to the federal level, if you've been watched, if you're being watched, you have no idea. First of all, let's just start there, right? Second of all, this will be included in the grievance. What are you talking about? All of this is included in the grievance, including the fact that you continued to prosecute me knowing that officers had put evidence in my car. And that the people don't even realize the relationship between the second officer and the absolutely evil fucking thing, the evil motive you had to do what you did to me and my daughters. You evil, evil human. And I can say that with my entire chest because I know that the majority of the public will absolutely agree with me. That is a twist in this story that nobody would have ever expected. And that is a twist that immediately lets you know, oh my God, that's why they did that to her at Stars. Yeah, that's why they did that. That's exactly why they did that. And it's documented in that. Since you won't do any of the above, my only recourse is the State Bar questioning as to why you didn't. I don't think they would agree with you failing a victim in that way. I want you to cease disrespecting me. I don't give a shit if you are prosecuting me. But as a victim, you will not disrespect me. Nor will you disrespect me as a defendant. And me not defend myself against that disrespect. No. There's a decorum that you must follow. Us as citizens, we did not take an oath. No, you took an oath. Us as citizens only have this, which is democracy. And whatever creativity we have to be stronger in the eyes of anybody watching in public or in power than you. Than people like you that do this to us. Since you won't do any of the above, my only recourse is a state bar questioning as to why you didn't. And I don't think they would agree with you failing a victim in that way. I want you to cease disrespecting my rights as a victim. I shouldn't even have to ask you this. Vanessa Tijerina, survivor, and in parentheses I put surviving you as well. My goodness. You would think that, my goodness, I just cannot believe that I have to, even as a survivor, keep surviving this woman and these men. These men who have no power, that are part of the public, and this woman who has power, who likely shouldn't. Oh my goodness. Anyways, yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I can print it out. I could take a screenshot and I could just, yeah, I can do that too. It was sent. It was absolutely sent. All right. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tomorrow I break my fast. I've been fasting for 5 days. Yep. I've been drinking water though, but still. All right. And I've already stated, first of all, I really don't care. I really don't care if you're like, well, I thought you were going to, you know. Hi, Victoria Reyes Cruz. She says, I just joined late. I'll catch the replay. Please do, because I'm going to deactivate. I'm going to leave this up for 24 hours. Okay? You all, please, I don't care if you go and you have to subscribe to that man for notifications. I do not care. But the minute that he mentions me, the minute that he tries to defame me, the minute that he tries to lie about me, the minute that he tries to humiliate me, the minute that he tries to torment me, the minute that he does anything that you believe is a violation of the harassment law, first of all, if you can and if you have memory, record it and then report it. Because he'll take that down like a coward. He'll take it down. Thank you, Ruby. Yes, I've been fasting. Yes, I'm so hungry. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm starving. I am. The other day I have some walnuts in my, and I was like, they're already peeled and everything, right? They're half walnuts, and I wanted to eat one so bad. But I was like, nope. You are working out, you are lifting weights, you are doing this fast because you are going to start going ham with the heavy weightlifting and the ingesting of protein. Lots and lots of protein. I got so many, I had to order it from Amazon because there's no stores from down here that have, I forgot what it's called. The Safe Tuna? It's called like Safe something tuna. Anyways, it has less mercury, so you can eat it more often than regular tuna. Tuna, by the way, do you all know that tuna has the most protein than any other protein? Has the most protein per its size. It has more protein than beef. It has more protein than anything. One little tiny can of tuna has almost 30 grams of protein. It is the best source of protein, just so you know. Right? Thank you, Karina. Thank you so much. She says, thank you. She says, you're loved by all of us. We love you. I love you too. Thank you. Thank you so much. Tony Valdez says, I hope you're giving a copy of every paper you have ever filed with a trusted family member, so in the event of everyone getting filed and shredded. Oh, I constantly go and get the events of every case. There ain't no way you are ever going to say, no, this didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen. No. And yes, I have people in another county that are in 2 other counties that have what I have. In case that ever happens. Yeah, I do. I have spoken about that before. So thank you so much. I love y'all. Take care. Please report that man. If you go down on my page, you will see where you can report him for bullying and harassment, for misinformation. You know, please do. Please do. I'll work on the copyright thing later. Right now, I am surviving in other ways, and when I'm not surviving, I am doing everything I can to be as strong as I can. And you know, as I get older, I'm you know, I want to be healthier. I don't even know what to say. Okay, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Happy Thanksgiving.